Hey Arun. Hey, good morning. How are you?
Hey Fred, good morning. I'm doing all right. Thanks. How are you?
Doing all right. Enjoying my morning with a coffee.
I don't have a coffee, although we are calling it EPM coffee chat. I had my coffee early, but next time I'll make sure I have my coffee with me.
Yeah, sounds
So,
good.
how was your weekend?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Went to Niagara on the Lake yesterday, so it was
Wow.
really nice.
Cool,
It
cool.
was hot, but
Yeah,
still
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think today
How
it's
about
gonna be
you?
even hotter if I'm being
Yeah, yeah,
frank.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like what, hour and a half drive to Niagara?
Um, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Cool, cool. All right. So we were home, routine stuff, shopping, Costco, groceries. But I did play pickleball in the evening yesterday. So it was a 3 hour match, 3 hour game, and yeah, it was pretty good. The evening was very nice. So we played from 6 to 9. So
Wow.
yeah, it was lost a lot of games, but won couple of games.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it still was hot, right? Between 6 and 9, but
Yeah.
maybe better
Yeah,
than
it was
during the
better. It was better in the evening, obviously. Yeah. We usually play in the morning, but yesterday we were kind of busy with the podcast prep and everything, so started going in the evening. All right. So maybe we get into the podcast. So hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of our podcast, which is EPM Coffee Chat. Today, your host, it's me, Arun, and we have Fred. Our two brothers, Asmat and Hirsch, are at KScope, so they will not be joining us in this episode, but we'll have a separate episode once they are back from KScope to give you updates about KScope and about the different sessions and everything. So we hope to have that session pretty soon. All right, Fred. So maybe you can cover the agenda for today. So let me share my screen and then we can go from there. All right. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, I can see a screen.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, hey everyone. So today we are going to discuss subscriptions for Oracle Cloud EPM. And we are going to discuss difference between standard and enterprise subscriptions. Then we will cover July updates. And lastly, we will talk about upcoming events.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. I think the first thing is very important because a lot of us, even EPM consultants, even being in this space for a long time, sometimes get confused between the different offerings in standard versus enterprise. So it'll be good to kind of walk everyone through, what's in standard versus what's in enterprise.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So maybe I can cover this, and Fred, you can cover the next couple of slides, and I'll tag along with with my questions and any comments that I have. So we kind of discussed about this in our last episode. When we talk about EPM, a lot of people think it's just planning, budgeting, and forecasting, and that is not the case. EPM is a complete suite of offerings, which covers everything from your connected planning, your close and consolidation, and your reporting. It obviously comes with data management. So it's a complete solution, which comes with EPM. So if you look at the slide, you'll see planning. So our typical planning, which is your budgeting and forecasting solution, but even within that, you have different flavors of planning. So you have custom planning, which we used to call it planning, budgeting, and cloud service earlier. So you do have that option to custom build your planning solution in EPM. You also have the module-based planning, which is your different modules like strategic modeling, financials, workforce, capital, and projects. Then the newest offering, which is predictive cash forecasting. You also have sales planning, freeform planning, and strategic workforce planning. So all of these are different flavors of the planning application. Then you have allocations, which is a profitability and cost management. You have account reconciliation, which includes reconciliation compliance and transaction matching. You have consolidation and close, which is generally known as FCCS, financial consolidation and close. Then you have tax reporting. You have narrative reporting for all your reporting needs. And you have enterprise data management for your master data management. So this is the different offerings that we have in EPM. So it's not just a planning, budgeting, and forecasting solution. I don't know, Fred, if you have anything to add here.
No, I think you covered pretty much everything. So
okay. So before we get into the next slide where we talk about the difference between standard and enterprise, we just wanted to give this overview of what are the different applications that are being offered as part of the EPM suite of products, right? All right. So Fred, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. So here on this slide, you can see in the nutshell, the difference between the Cloud EPM standard and Cloud EPM Enterprise. So I'll start with something obvious. It's the number of users that you will have for different kind of subscriptions. With the standard, you should have at least 10 users, or you should buy at least 10 licenses for users. Where for enterprise, you should get 25 users. So from this point only, you can assume that enterprise is for much larger organizations, established like enterprises and such, while standard subscription is for small and mid-sized businesses.
Yeah.
And then
that's a very good point. Like, if you look at when you think about choosing the different subscription, that is one of the factors that you can consider, the size of your business, right? So if you're large business, then you probably better to look at the enterprise license. Obviously, there are other considerations like, do I really need, enterprise data management, or do I really need consolidation and close? But still, it's a good starting point for you to think about when you look at the different licensing and the subscription options.
Exactly. Yep. Thanks, Aaron. And then if we look at the next four applications, planning, AR, which is account reconciliation, FCC, and NR. So you will see that we have the same applications for both standard and enterprise. There are nuances that we'll cover in the next slides, but generally you will get the same applications with both standard or enterprise subscriptions. And then all that you see below on the right side, freeform, EDM, PCM, and TR applications, those are available in or with enterprise subscription only, even though you can purchase separately enterprise data management with your standard subscription.
Yeah.
One thing I remember, Arun, from I think before 2020, you had to pay extra for each of these applications. And then I think they just combine everything into one payment. You just, buy a subscription for either standard or enterprise, and you get all applications. So yeah. there is no reason why you wouldn't deploy or benefit from the full suite of all of these applications.
Yeah, especially on the enterprise, like, once you get the subscription, you can enable the different business processes, right? So when I say business process, planning is one of them, account reconciliation is one of the ones, so on and so forth. So you can enable any of those business processes. So yeah, it's it also allows the flexibility to, like, maybe you want to go first with planning, and then later down the line, you may want to enable, I don't know, financial consolidation and account reconciliation. So you have that flexibility in terms of enabling those business processes when you need it.
Right.
All right. So maybe we switch to the next slide where we talk a little bit more in detail about the different differences between the two?
Okay. The same applications we have on the left. I'll start with the planning. And in the first column, you can see that what is included in Cloud EPM standard, those are model-based plannings or out-of-the-box solutions that are provided from Oracle. Strategic modeling, financials, workforce, capital, and projects. And then on the right side, what you see is what comes in addition or on top of what already included with standard subscription. So with your standard subscription, you will not get custom planning, predictive cash forecasting, free forms, sales planning, strategic workforce planning, or the features like Groovy scripting, which can optimize your performance dramatically. IPM insights.
Yeah, I think those two are like major. I would say, Groovy is like one of the most important features available in EPM. And IPM Insights, a lot of people don't know about IPM Insights. So, those two are like amazing features in EPM to help you with, like, just Fred mentioned, like optimizing your calculations, data pushes, smart push, any of that. Groovy really helps with that. And you also have the option to invoke REST APIs, even internal and external REST APIs. All of this is possible using Groovy scripting. That's one of the major features that is available in Enterprise. And hopefully, I hope Oracle includes that as part of the standard subscription as well.
Yeah, and I know before Oracle also had PBCS Plus option that was available. So the Plus was or included Groovy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know many customers wanted to buy that one just because of the Groovy.
Right.
So the next application is AR, account reconciliation. With the standard and enterprise, you will get reconciliation compliance. And then on top of that, with enterprise, you'll get transaction matching. Or would you like to cover or describe? Yeah.
So I think transaction matching is another great feature in ARCS, but depending on the size of the organization, sometimes it makes sense just to have reconciliation compliance. But if you have large transactions, large volume of transactions, which is being used as part of your monthly reconciliation process, it might make sense to get account reconciliation, including transaction matching. Well, obviously, then that means you have to get your enterprise license. Okay, maybe I'll cover the next two. So financial close and consolidation, FCC. So, most of the normal features like consolidation, your ownership structures, custom configurable rules, supplemental data manager, all of this is part of the EPM standard subscription. What comes on top of that in EPM Enterprise are the enterprise journals. And then we talk obviously about Groovy and IPM. Those are the three major components that are part of the enterprise subscription. Now, if you talk about narrative reporting, it's the same in both. So there's no differences between standard and enterprise. So you still get the report packages functionality, and even all of your management reporting, which is just the reporting functionality. So it's available in both enterprise and standard subscription.
So the next one is a free form. It's not included with the standard subscription, so you will not get it. But what is the beauty of freeform is that you will have 12 cubes that you can use either for BSO or ESO. And then you can build completely custom solution, whatever you want, basically. But
and I think you're not constrained by the dimensionality of the standard planning application, right? Like you can define your own custom dimensions, any custom dimension for that matter. So
right. Yeah. There is a complete flexibility in terms of dimension. Yeah, I agree. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
And then the next one is EDM. So you would likely want to have EDM, if you have ERP, EPM applications, and then you can just use EDM to update all your metadata across all applications. So you'll have one source of truth for all your metadata in all applications. And so with that application, you can just push updates on a daily or nightly basis. I don't know what would make sense. And that's a great way to synchronize all metadata across all applications.
It's not just the chart of account segments or dimensions that we can use in enterprise data management. You obviously can use other master data. You can manage that in EDM. So we do have that flexibility. Yeah, so we'll have a separate session with Kate and Abhinav to talk more about EDM and its features in one of the upcoming podcasts.
And the last two are PCM. So with PCM is not included with the standard, but with enterprise, you will get either EPCM or PCM application. So E stands for enterprise. That's a new application that was developed by Oracle relatively recently. So if I'm not mistaken, Arun, with enterprise, you are getting all up-to-date features like Forms 2.0 and all of that, while PCM just it just lives with whatever was developed before.
Yeah, I think so. It still gets all the platform updates. And when I say security and other updates, maybe this is a question that we can ask Harsh once he's back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, about PCM versus EPCM is one of the topics in the upcoming sessions.
Yeah, and the last one, tax reporting. So I don't have experience with tax reporting, Arun. Do you have any insights maybe on that one?
Not many have. Like I haven't worked on it at all. Although I've been trying to explore tax reporting. The only thing that I know is country by country reporting is something that you can do in tax reporting. Obviously, other things related to tax. But I don't think I haven't met many people who have worked on tax reporting. But anyways, for the purposes of this discussion, tax reporting is only available in enterprise subscription. It is not part of the standard subscription at all. So
right.
That's the main difference. All right. So I think the next slide would be something interesting for people who are configuring the application, thinking about the different options in which they can customize the application. So this kind of have the number of cubes that are available in the different planning applications specifically. So Freddie, you want to cover the slide?
Yeah, sure. So with the standard subscription, you'll get pretty much the same framework for all out-of-the-box solutions as with enterprise. While there is a difference in custom cubes that you can develop. So with the standard, you will have only 2 cubes, one BSO and one ASO. With the enterprise, you can get 3 BSO and 4 ASO cubes. So if we look at the next application, which is Freeform, and where you have 12 cubes, there might be a question like, why do you even need Freeform with 12 cubes when you have planning application with the 7 custom cubes? I think this is what Arun, you just mentioned before, that you have complete flexibility with dimensionality. You are not restricted with the mandatory dimensionality that you get with the planning application.
Yeah. You're right. Like if you have like a space application that you want to move, then Freeform is a good option. I think when we say, Fred, when we say 12 cubes, it can be a combination of any, right? It can be a combination of 6 BSO, 6 ASO, 8 BSO, 4
exactly.
ASO, but it's just a maximum of 12 cubes, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then the last 3 are models, within the planning. So those are predictive cash forecasting, sales planning, and strategic workforce planning. You'll get a number of cubes within the model, and you can also have one custom ASO cube just for reporting purposes for all of these applications.
Yeah. So for predictive, I've started exploring predictive cash forecasting. So maybe one of the future episodes we'll talk about it. Strategic workforce planning, I know it's pretty similar to our normal workforce planning. It's just that it includes an additional component about supply and demand forecasting in terms of your talent. So, you can model that out in the system. So strategic workforce planning is another thing that maybe we could cover later. So I thought like earlier they took it out of the EPM's queue and it was part of the HCM's queue. And now I think it's back into the EPM's queue, if I'm not wrong.
I see. Yeah, I didn't know that it
Yeah,
was part
so
of HCM.
yeah, we had some of these functionality which is in strategic workforce planning within our normal workforce module. Then they disabled some of those, moved it out into separate application, strategic workforce planning, and then it moved to HCM because it is mostly used by the HR folks.
Right.
To look at your talent, look at the supply and demand of specific job categories that you're interested in. So let's say if you were to expand to a specific I don't know, location or region, you want to know how much that's going to cost. So you would say like, okay, for this region, I'm going to have like 5 HR managers, 15 analysts, whatever, right? So you can model those kind of scenarios and focus on specific job categories. And you can say, number of, I don't know, resources that you need. And then it's going to spit out a number. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things happening in the backend, but it's going to spit out a number saying that, okay, this is the total compensation expenses that you can expect if you were to do this activity. And the other flip side, it will also tell you, okay, at this moment, you only have like, 8 analysts, which you probably could use to move to that new region. So, if the demand comes back as 12 analysts, you only have 8 analysts. So there's you need to get 4 analysts somehow. So it could be upskilling somebody in your existing organization, or you look at, hiring someone from outside. So these are the kind of activities that you can do based on, the analysis that you can do in strategic workforce planning. So your demand, your supply, then you look at how to balance the difference between your supply and demand. So yeah, so it's a pretty good application. So majorly it's used by HR folks. So that's why I think Oracle moved it out to the HCM's queue. But any project that you're gonna need somebody with EPM experience to implement this. So even in my experience, it's the same, right? HCM, yeah, they have the functional knowledge of some of these things, but they don't know how to configure the system. So it's always somebody from EPM team who's going to help them configure strategic workforce planning. So maybe that's the reason why it's coming back into EPM SKU. But yeah.
Yeah, probably. So it's not only about numbers, right? It's also about supply and demand of workforce.
Yes. So behind the scenes, it obviously takes the workforce data. So it connects to your HCM system. It gets the data about employees. So a lot of that information is used to calculate the supply and demand numbers, right? So when I talk about supply, let's say you have 10 employees in a specific department. So it's going to pull that information from HCM into workforce, strategic workforce planning. It's going to look at your, age, your, retirement age, all of that thing is taken into consideration while calculating your supply, right? So if somebody's retiring in, end of this year, then, and, it's going to highlight that, saying that by end of this year, somebody's going to retire. So that means next year, that person is not available. So you can then know that, okay, next year, my supply is going down for that specific job category. So yeah, it also takes into account attrition rates, all of that stuff. So headcount, yeah. So the typical things that you would see in a workforce planning in our normal planning module is all there. On top of that, you also have supply and demand forecasting functionality in there.
Interesting. So with planning or those models, you also have strategic modeling, right?
Yeah.
And then the strategic workforce planning. So do you need to build that integration between both to push data from from strategic workforce planning to strategic modeling, or do you just use the functionality that you have with strategic modeling?
Well, strategic modeling is probably different, right? Because you're looking at your long-term, I don't know, strategy for your business itself, right? I mean, one of the things could be like expanding to a new product category or expanding to a new region. So in my mind, at least, strategic modeling would define those different, I don't know, scenarios that you could then model out in strategic workforce planning from a workforce perspective. So if I'm saying, okay, in my strategic modeling, I'm saying, okay, I want to see how the numbers are looking like if I were to expand into a new product category, right? So that is your vision. Maybe in the next 2 years, you want to expand. If I take the example of a truck manufacturing company, so maybe you have a diesel vehicles now, but you want to expand into electric trucks, right? So
Right.
From an organization perspective, leadership perspective, you might say that in the next 3 years, we want to expand into, building trucks, electric trucks. So that's your strategic goal in strategic modeling in my mind, right? And then that can be an input. That goal can be an input into strategic workforce planning, because you're saying, okay, I need to expand into manufacturing electric trucks. So that means you need to upskill your current workforce, or you need to hire new workforce. So that can be an input into strategic workforce planning. The way I would look at it is also, it's once that information is completed or captured or calculated in strategic workforce planning, it could then go into your workforce planning as new hire requisitions. For example, I have supply and demand. I came up with that calculation, and I see that, okay, I'm going to need 3 new engineers who has electric, knowledge about electric trucks. So I have to hire them, right? So that's the calculation that I came up with in the strategic workforce planning. Let's say I take that information and then I use that information in your workforce planning from a labor compensation cost perspective in your normal planning application, right? So now I can model out that in your workforce planning, saying that, okay, I need 3 engineers with knowledge of electric trucks. I have to hire them at this level, and I can model out and see that how is that going to impact my budget and forecast numbers. So in my mind, that's the link.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great example. Thanks for covering that, Ron.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's everything we wanted to cover. Hopefully this gives you an understanding about standard versus enterprise. Obviously, we haven't covered a lot in detail, but this should give you an idea about major differences between standard versus enterprise. But if you have questions, you can connect with us and we will try to help you out. All right. So maybe we go into the next section, which is July 2024 updates. There are a few things we wanted to cover from major updates. And we're not going to go into every single update that came out in July, but we'll cover platform security and few other things in the planning applications. So one major thing is removal of known Redwood themes. So if you're using a known Redwood theme, Oracle is going to automatically move everyone to use Redwood theme. And that's a major change. I don't think you have an option unless you skip the update, right? But I don't know why you would stick with your old theme. You should just move to Redwood theme because now there's the UI is pretty good. It is fast. So I like the new UI. And also it's consistent across ERP, HCM, all of the Fusion applications and EPM, right? It now has a consistent look and feel across the different applications.
Yeah, you can switch between tabs. You will have much less pop-up windows, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I will just open up. So if I go through the things like, okay, so you have themes outside of Redwood Experience and no longer supported. The other thing is you have few options, right? So you have the custom light, custom dark, and Oracle default themes available in the Redwood experience. You can obviously replace the Oracle logo with a custom logo. And if you select the custom light and custom dark themes, you do have the option to replace the background of your homepage. So those two options are available there. Okay, so we have a major update, which is a non-hybrid S-base version to hybrid S-base version. This is a very confusing update, and you can see the image that I have, which was confusing. Anyways, so I know, Fred, you have a slide to cover this, so I'll probably go back there and then we can talk about the non-hybrid S-base version to hybrid S-base version update.
Right, yeah. There are a lot of confusions for sure. And I know as a first step, many would ask how to check what version they have. And it's pretty easy to check. And I think we can demo that, right, Aaron?
Yeah. So I think if you just go to application overview and you go to
Activity
one thing
reports.
is here, right? Which is hybrid enabled. This obviously means it's enabled. The
Right,
other
yeah,
option, yeah. I think the other option was in activity report, yeah?
Right. In activity report, and then if we click, to that view, here you'll see that you have that line S-base version supports hybrid BSO. And if you have the value yes, that means that your S-base supports hybrid BSO, even though you may not have hybrid cube, but your S-base supports it. There are ways to convert it, but just wanted to clarify that if your S-base supports BSO, that doesn't mean that you have a hybrid cube. So I think there are a lot of confusion there.
Yeah, I think if I read it, if I go back to my post, so it says Oracle is upgrading all environments on a non-hybrid S-base version to a hybrid S-base version. The first time you read this, you kind of feel like, okay, if I have a non-hybrid, cube, it's going to just get upgraded automatically. But this is talking about the S-base version, S-base, which is getting upgraded, which will give you the option to enable hybrid BSO or not, right? That's the difference in my mind.
Right. And then I think we can also cover around what if you have value no?
Yeah.
What do you have to do?
Yeah. So I think if you go back to your slide.
Right. So in case you have the value no, that means your environment has non-hybrid S-base. And what you have to do as soon as possible before Oracle roll out July updates, you just go to applications overview, and then you'll have actions. So on the right side, you can see the screenshot. You just click actions, and then you should see a new button from Oracle S-base outline. validation, just navigate there and then click on pre-validate outlines. That will take a few minutes. And then right after that, just go back to that actions button, click, go to Essbase outline validation and click on view outline pre-validation report. You'll see a pop-up window with the either saying that you don't have to fix anything, or if you have any validation errors that are not compatible with the Essbase that supports hybrid version, you'll just have to go there and fix all of those member formulas and everything what is stated in the report. One thing I wanted to clarify also here, Aaron, is I digged into Oracle documentation, just try to understand the difference between hybrid cubes and Essbase that supports hybrid version. So Oracle says that you can convert it, but at the same time they say if you want to convert it, you should have commercially authorized license to do that. So it's not like you can convert it maybe free of charge. I don't know that's not clear. But what is confusing is that with new applications, you are getting hybrid cubes. So that's something I think Oracle should clarify.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can reach out to. I'll reach out to Al and see, some clarifications where we can maybe provide in the next episode.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, we did have this option to convert to hybrid BSO option, right? Back in the day, you used to have like I think it was in Actions itself, like convert to hybrid BSO or something.
Yeah.
Let me see if we have Actions. Okay, this one doesn't have, right? Like you don't have the option to check the pre-validation.
Right.
Yeah. It's probably because it's already on BSO, I mean hybrid enabled.
Right.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that's clear for most of the folks. But if you're not, if you don't know if you're on hybrid, just go to the activity report and you can see if Essbase version supports hybrid BSO or not. So if it's no, then you should go into actions, run the Essbase outline validation, pre-validate outline, look at the errors, and go through the errors and fix those errors. That would help with the smoother transition to the Essbase version, which supports hybrid BSO. A couple of other things on security. I think the one major one is a password encryption file created the Groovy scripts. Those files are going to be retained indefinitely. So if you were to use in server EPM automate, you need to have like password encrypted file. That file is going to be retained indefinitely. I believe earlier it was like 7 days. After 7 days, these files used to be deleted. But now those files are going to stay in the server, and you can use that in your scripts. The two other updates on security are the new application roles. So there's an access control view. There's an access control manage. These are the two new roles available in planning. I think it's in all of the applications. I haven't checked it, but I have seen it in planning. I think one of the things is that you don't need to have an service administrator role now. So you could give this role to a, power user to manage the access to those users and groups. So that's the advantage of having this application role in planning. Okay.
Sorry, Aaron, just a quick question on that. So if someone has a role access control manage, they can grant different roles to users, but they don't have the right to grant anyone admin role, right?
That's correct. So within the application, you could give like specific application roles. Again, this is only application roles. You're not giving role like service administrator or identity domain administrator, none of those. You get the privileges to provide specific not specific, but application roles to groups as well as individual users. And then, one of them could be like, earlier only service administrator were able to run the pipeline, right? But Oracle introduced a new role where you could assign it to like a user and they are able to run pipeline. So that's an application role. So those kind of roles, if you have access control managed, you can assign such application roles to specific users and groups both. And obviously you can run the reports from access control. So view is basically the same thing. When I say the same thing, you just get access to the reports related to security. So you have role assignment, your user login report, your user group report. So just access to those, but you cannot manage the group or you cannot assign application roles to users or groups. You're just able to run these reports and view the details. So two other things I think in planning, which is custom and freeform, disable the use of hybrid BSO cubes. So, if you don't want to use hybrid BSO cubes, you don't have to use. So this is only applicable in custom planning and freeform, because if you're on module based, you have to convert it into hybrid BSO and use. But if it's custom and freeform, now you have the flexibility whether to use hybrid BSO or not. The other one is data management, so planning. So this is another good one. So if I go to a little bit more detail on the post itself, the EPM so the job scheduler now supports the execution and scheduling of data management of data integration jobs. So that's the major update. And you can schedule integrations, batches, system maintenance scripts. So now all of those can be scheduled. In July, it's only available in planning applications. Oracle does plan to include this in the other applications like FCCS, tax reporting, and profitability and cost management in August update. So hopefully we see that coming. Also, if you had like scheduled jobs in data management, you're now able to migrate this into the job scheduler. So there's a process that Oracle has introduced, which is a migrate schedules to platform job scheduler. So it allows you to transfer your jobs that you have scheduled in data management into the platform job schedule. So when I say platform job scheduler, if you're confused, what I'm saying is if I go to jobs, schedule jobs, this is what we mean by platform scheduler, job scheduler, right? So this is where you can schedule all the jobs. So going forward, you'll also see an option to schedule some of the data management, data integration jobs here. Those were the major updates. I've put links here to two documents. One is Oracle documentation, so you can check that out. And one is the LinkedIn newsletter, which I was sharing. So you can check both of them out if needed. We covered this. And now a few major considerations. I think I was more interested in reading about these than the July updates. So one of the major updates is the changes that are coming to the permission required to creating forms, dashboards, and folders and such, right? So I believe the major change is power users. You don't get the inherent ability to, create forms and such. So users assigned to the power user predefined role will require write access to the folder in which they create forms, dashboards, or subfolders. So this is a change. Again, it's not available yet. based on the update from Oracle, it's coming in October. So in October, if you're a power user, if you have to create forms, dashboards, or subfolders, you need to have write access to that folder. So obviously more control now, but that's a big change, I believe. And obviously currently, anyone with a power user is it's able to create forms, dashboards, and subfolders without any restrictions. Plan to discontinue support for infolets. I don't know, Fred, if you have any thoughts on this, but this has been in the radar for a long time.
Yeah, it has been, yeah.
So in applications using non-Redwood themes, the create button on the infolets page will be disabled. So that's the major. I think in Redwood, there is no option to create infolets, if I'm not wrong. Right? Applications using Redwood Experience will no longer see the option to create infolets on the list. Yeah. So, okay. I think it's still there, but going forward, it won't be there, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
We job scheduling, migration, we kind of touched about it. Okay, a couple of things I think are interesting updates is for account reconciliation. So you can see changes to matched by attribute value for auto matched transactions. So if you work with transaction matching, you'll know that there's an option to auto match the transactions. And when you do auto match the transactions, there is a matched by attribute. And right now it populates TM underscore system as the value. So in a future update, that's going to change. So what's going to happen is if a user runs that auto match, so if I go into the application, I uploaded the file, imported the file, and I kick off the auto match rule, the matched by will have my username in there, not the TM underscore system, right? So it's going to have the user who ran that role. That information will be stored in the matched by attribute. So I think how this is going to affect is, if you're using this field in any of your reports in account reconciliation, you may want to look at those reports and change accordingly. So that's the consideration that you should think about. And this one, so if you have, if the currency codes are the same, earlier, I believe there was a currency conversion that was happening. You don't need to now, right? So if it's the same currency, there's no conversion needed. So that enhancements will be coming out in a future update as well. All right. That's everything that we wanted to cover on the July 2024 updates, major considerations. Fred, did you have anything else?
No, I think you covered pretty well and everything. So
Okay.
nothing to
Yeah, I think there weren't any major updates on narrative reporting, and there weren't any major narrative reporting, maybe. There weren't any major updates on EDM. I've noticed one thing, EDM, sometimes they have a lot of updates coming. Like, in the last update in June, I think there were a lot of updates. And then
Yeah.
they kind of go silent for like a couple of months.
Need to take a
Then,
rest.
yeah, then they come with a lot of updates. So I don't know. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to cover like a couple of upcoming events that we are looking forward to. So the first one is Cloud EPM Week. So this is from OITAG. We are planning a week of EPM sessions. So again, some of the sessions that were part of OITAG Ascent 24 will be there. So if you were unable to, go to Ascent conference and be part of those sessions, now you have the opportunity to listen to these sessions. So this is going to be online from August 19 to 23. We have close to 15 sessions, and every day we will have 3 sessions. So I've put a link to the schedule here, so you can go to the schedule and look at the sessions. You also have the option to register for the event. So maybe I'll just quickly go to the schedule page and then talk about the session. So here you can see Monday we have 3 sessions and Tuesday 3 sessions. So every day we have 3 sessions. And I believe it's 11 to 12, 1 to 2, and 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. So all the days we have the same timing for all the sessions. So take a look at this, and if you're interested in some of these sessions, you can register and be part of the session. So you'll see some really interesting sessions. We have sessions on EDM. We have sessions on Cloud EPM Task Manager. So this is another important topic. We also have IPM and predictive planning. So Dan's going to cover that. Then we have few customers, business use cases. One on ESG. I think this is another important one. There's a lot of focus on ESG now. So Oracle EPM has a framework. So maybe this is a good session for people to understand about ESG and how we can use ESG. Yeah, you have EPM pipeline, EPM dashboard. So I think there is one more session that we are planning on FCCS, but those are all the sessions that we have as part of the EPM week. So take a look at it. You also, if you scroll down, you have the link to register for the Cloud EPM week. So yeah, this will be some really good sessions. Hopefully you're able to attend. All right. So Fred, I'll let you cover this one.
Yeah, thank you. So for those who don't know, we have Uplift Toronto EPM user group, and we have that group on LinkedIn. So if you are based around in GTA or somewhere close to Toronto, please feel free to join the group and stay up to date with all the news related to Oracle EPM. And yeah, Arun is showing the link, so you can follow that link to join the group. We are planning to have an event, in-person event, in September this year. So stay tuned, join the group, and yeah, learn more about the upcoming events that we are planning to schedule. Not only this year, we are going to schedule at least a couple of events every year. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either of us. On the slide, you can see LinkedIn bios for Arun, Asmat, myself, and Harsh.
Yeah.
Everyone will be happy to answer all of your questions if you have any.
Right. Yeah. If you would like to present during one of these sessions, we'll be happy to have you. And it's a fantastic opportunity to people to network with other EPM practitioners, to hear customer stories, to learn from one another. And also it gives you a platform where you can share your knowledge with the other EPM community, right? So it's a great opportunity. So look out for an update from us. Tentative September 2024. Usually we plan to have this in person because we want people to come and meet and have that in-person event. But there have been a lot of requests about having sessions also available online. So we will look into it. But majorly we would want to have this, in person. But if there's an option to include like Zoom link or Teams link, we will try and accommodate that. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. All right. Anything else you wanted to cover, Fred?
No, I think that's all for this week at least.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to cover more interesting topics in the upcoming sessions. Like we said, Harsh and Asmat are at KScope. So once they are back, we're going to have a session talking more about KScope and updates from KScope. And we will include other topics as well. And obviously, by the time next session recording, we probably will have the August updates coming out as well. So we'll talk about that. One thing I wanted to also look into was the Google Sheets, the Smart View available in Google Sheets. So something if I can get a hold of somebody who can show that, then maybe we can we can show that to the team as well. I'm in the group, the community as well. And we are looking to bring in guests. So I've reached out to a couple of folks for them to be part of the podcast. So we will keep you updated on that, and we'll see if we can have like a stream, live stream. So I tried live stream on another podcast. It didn't go well, so I'm a little nervous about that. But we will test it out internally, and then if a live stream is possible, then we will have these sessions as live streams going forward. Also allows opportunity for you to join the live stream and ask questions live during the session. All right, that is all the update that
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's all the update that we had. I hope you all have a great week ahead. And we will put this in the YouTube channel as well as in the podcast application. And we're also trying to have the podcast available in Apple Podcast and also other podcast providers. But for now, this is available in YouTube podcast. All
Yeah,
right.
sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Stay cool.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.